Hey gang, thanks for clicking on the video. In this one we're going to go ahead and pull the right quarter panel off the 67 Camaro project and get that wheel tub out of there. Clean all the flanges up and start setting our new sheet metal into place. Thanks for watching. Fear can be a great mobilizer and it can paralyze you. You kind of got to watch it. I like to run like a gazelle from the lion. And I take that quote from a very serious mentor in my life. And the idea there is I'm fearful, but my senses are heightened. And so the reason I bring this up is I get questions from time to time. How do I do this? How do I fit this? And I try not to give some sort of definitive answer because there is no one definitive answer. So usually I try to break that down. When I'm getting a question of how does this, how's that, I've got someone who doesn't understand what's going on. And they're a little bit apprehensive as to going forward. And so that fear is going to feed you. Don't let it paralyze you. Let it heighten those senses. If you can be afraid to where you're looking out for this, you're using the best procedures and practices, you're using the best products available to you, and you're going for it, that's a good thing. If it's paralyzing you and you're like, how do I do this? And I'm afraid to go forward, that's not going to work for you. These big guys out there have that same thing going on, but they've got it in the millions of vehicles going out there. We all want to produce cool, fun projects, but we also don't want to hurt no one. We don't want to weaken the structure of something. We don't want someone to put 500, 600 horsepower on a street car, go out there and wrap that baby around a telephone pole and have everything come apart. And, you know, that's fear for me. That's motivation for me. And if I can do each little individual spot weld perfectly times 100 or whatever it takes to get a quarter panel roof structure on, then that's where my attention needs to be, and that's where my fear needs to be focusing me. It's kind of a deep subject to get into here. It's like, I don't have this all worked out. This stuff's all unscripted. I'm just shooting off the cuff here. But I'm trying to share some of the ideas that go into these cars. I mean, you can take and measure out this car a million times. You could have it set up perfectly on a beautiful chassis table, have this baby jigged out to the hill, but the car's got to fit together. The parts got to fit together, and all the measuring and forethought you can put into it doesn't necessarily amount to everything, because when it's all said and done, the car's got to be sitting down on a suspension, stuff's got to line up, but you also want to have that guarantee that when you go guarantee, what am I talking about, you know? Phew. You want to be able to sleep at night, and so you want to put all your thought into when all these individual welds go together, that this car is not going to unzip like a zipper would. So I don't know, that's just a little rant that I'm going off on this particular night. I noticed in the last video you guys kind of liked the I don't know what it was. Like, my idea with videos is I want to present something that motivates people to get out there in the garage and do their projects and share in that and like help people along, and yeah, kind of like, you know, coasts along and everything. But like in last week's video, I started to talk about like maybe a difficult process in the way, and all of a sudden, wham, it opens up a whole book. And so I got to use that to like, I'm not going to call it entertain, but the videos and the YouTube channel for me is something to where I'm learning as much as, I'm learning more than anybody on this, because if someone takes the time to write a comment and share with me, I'm picking up on something and I'm trying to go forward. And so kind of tough to sum it up and say something all sort of profound, but I'm learning as much. And so when we discussed a difficult issue in the last video, all of a sudden a light bulb went off and I got several comments on that. And so I want to expand on that, and maybe that's something that will help me to learn more, as well as those who read the comments and who contribute. I am not some sort of like guru, obviously, if you're watching this video, these videos, you know, but I'm not some sort of guru when it comes to this stuff, and I'm learning every single day when I'm working on these cars. I've got a lot of these cars under my belt, and I've picked up stuff along the way, and I've got a lot to learn as I continue to go forward. The coolness factor, the nice panel alignment, the beautiful gaps, all that stuff matters to me. Longevity, I want these cars to last. If I'm going to take a year out of my life and pour my passion into a vehicle, I'm going to do what, you know, within reason, what it takes to try and make that thing live on, so that my life's work can live on. But, yeah, let's stop it right there. Just to get us started on an overview of what's going on in the project, the last bit of sheet metal to come off the main body will be this quarter wheel tub and trunk dropout. Sitting up over here, we've started to set our deck filler panel in. Got some adjustments to do on it. The taillight panel has been loosely clamped into place, and we've got our quarter panel setting in. Doors in. Gap's not perfect yet, but we can make it better than that. And that's kind of where we're at. We've kilted the roof off to this side a little bit so that we have a little bit of room to play with when it comes to pulling this last bit of sheet metal off the vehicle. So these are the tools that we'll be using to remove them. Mostly we'll use the 4.5 inch angle cut just to save a little bit money on the 1994s. These are less than half the price. And then we've got our air chisel. When we come over here to the car, we'll end up leaving this flange till last and use it as a trigger. I'll go ahead and cut along that upper seam and down the sail panel. We'll chisel along the edge, staying away from that inner brace. That's why you see the marker line about 1/2 inch back. And this whole area around the wheel tub I half expect to just break off. The trunk dropout will stay with the quarter. Seems how it's already detached from the floor and all the back sheet metal as it's already been replaced. And then along the trunk gutter, we'll just cut it along that upper. And then we make little marks to let us know where there's interference on the backside because we don't want to plunge our cutter in deep. Here it is off. Some of the things I noticed right away is there's no angled bracket in on this side, and it doesn't appear to have been one welded in from the factory. Normally would go there. This lip pretty much just fell right off, and I'm not even going to screw around with this side like I did on the other, and I'm just going to go ahead and get this wheel tub off right now. So these lower quarter flange we'll just knock off with the chisel, being careful on the rocker, as well as the bottom part of the wheel tub there. There's 3 spot welds to go ahead and grind down right there, and then all these will get drilled out to receive the new wheel tub. Up here we'll probably try knocking that off with the air chisel. But if it starts to mess with that flange too much, we'll have to grind it. And here we are, all cleaned up after all that, ready to start fitting a wheel tub, trunk dropout, and such. Flanges are cleaned up decent, probably have a little more work to do, and of course we'll clean up all the inner structure and coat it with that rust defender. I hope you guys get a sense of what this stuff means to me, because I know that it means a lot to you just by checking out and seeing what you guys are sharing. Thanks for clicking on the video and watching, supporting us by commenting and liking.